Humankind has been extremely fixated on family dynasties for centuries. From the various wars fought because of succession disputes in the past, to modern society being obsessed with the British royal family, people have always been interested in the powers associated with the right name. Even spilling over into our video games, with these best games that let you create a family dynasty. First is RimWorld, in which family dynasties are possible through the Biotech expansion pack. Colonists can get pregnant naturally through surrogacy or growth vats, and children are also obtainable through scenarios, quests, and events. Centered around a Scottish clan living in the Highlands, Clanfolk tasks players with ensuring their dynasty's survival. Building a safe settlement with proper ventilation, heating, and other considerations is a must, especially during winter, and caring for the land and livestock will also keep the clan alive and ready for any possible threat. In Echoes of the Plum Grove, players settle in Honeywood to establish their family dynasty. Starting off with a plot of land, players farm, fish, cook, forage, and craft their way to comfort, and a solid base to start a family with. Although Founder's Fortune is a colony sim, establishing family trees is an important mechanic. Matchmaking migrants and villagers with good traits and skills ensure the next generation has greater chances of success. And of course, the buck doesn't stop at child rearing, as kids must be nurtured too. In Star Dynasties, players take control of the head of a feudal house within a politically divided galaxy after the destruction of Earth, and you're tasked with working alongside and competing with aristocratic families to ensure that their bloodline and faction become the dominant power in the galaxy. In the quintessential medieval life sim, players get to go back in time to the 1400s and create their legacy from scratch. The Guild 2 features extensive character creation and allows players to select a wide array of professions, which can include being a priest, stonemason, or even a thief, and start families and watch their lineage and power grow in size and influence. Ancestors Humankind Odyssey covers the span of a clan's evolution from 10 million years ago to 2 million years ago. The game has a steep learning curve because of its evolution system. For clans to move on to the next generation, players must unlock neurons or skills, and their clan can manifest these skills through reinforcement points, which are earned by having babies or finding meteorites. Next is Record of Agarest War, a tactical RPG covering 5 generations, each with a male protagonist who must marry one of 3 female companions through the soul breed system. Player characters from the resulting union inherit their player's appearance and abilities, while base stats, weapon type, and physical and magical skills all depend on player lineage. The Sims 4 is a game that needs no introduction, and a big part of the gameplay loop in The Sims 4 is controlling households and either overseeing their rise to success or engineering their downfall if players wish to go down a dark route. Medieval Dynasty marries survival crafting with town management and life simulation, where players pioneer a settlement by building what their town lacks through farming, hunting, foraging, and trading. Although making a home is also a high priority, as finding a wife and having an heir is important, because it's game over if a player passes away without having a child first. Massive Chalice is one of Double Fine Productions' lesser-known projects. The game combines elements of kingdom management with turn-based tactical gameplay, and while the mechanics of this game slowly lose their luster over time, Massive Chalice still makes for a unique experience that has decent lore and an engaging gameplay loop. As expected of a game set in the medieval period, family is important in Mount & Blade 2. Starting stats depend on the profession picked by players for their dead parents, and the right marriage will strengthen the player's clan, influences overlords and vassals, and even expands their army. Sometimes all a game needs is great writing and a compelling gameplay loop to keep fans hooked. And such is the case with Sunless Sea, a title that lets players go on dangerous expeditions to different lands that are all pretty mysterious in their own right. The oppressive atmosphere and nerve-wracking gameplay go hand in hand to to make for a truly unique and engaging experience. Kinseed can be a bit frustrating with the lack of some much needed quality of life changes, but marriage in the game is a lot less frustrating than other aspects, as spirits at the wedding confer pretty good stat bonuses, and having kids, whether biologically or through adoption, also comes with some upsides. At a glance, the cartoonish art style of Wildermyth might compel gamers to write this title off as nothing more than another tactical RPG, but there's way more to the game than what meets the eye. A campaign spans multiple years, with characters growing old and eventually retiring as adventurers before letting their children take up the mantle instead. Taking the reins in a different direction, Niche has players outlive their inner Darwin by shaping their animal species in a game based on real genetic principles. Players must work hard to ensure their species' survival against would-be predators, climate change, and the plague. Though not everyone's cup of tea, WolfQuest offers the experience of being a young gray wolf living in the northern range of Yellowstone National Park. Players must hunt, explore, mate, and raise their own families. And once a new litter is born, players must guide their pups to adulthood while navigating a realistic ecological simulation of the park. In Rogue Legacy 2, players will explore 6 unique biomes in a classic platform roguelite fashion. However, each time that a character dies, players will then continue as their children, with each generation allowing players to select one of 3 kids, each being one of 15 different classes with various additional talents and traits that will spice up gameplay or hinder it a little. Following its predecessor, Crusader Kings 3 attempts to give players an unrivaled medieval role-playing experience. Stepping in as a count, duke, king, or emperor, players must guide their family and rewrite the course of history by establishing their house as the most powerful in all the land. Known as the game that reawakened interest in the Fire Emblem series, Fire Emblem Awakening is perhaps one of the most accessible games in the franchise. When characters are paired up and have their relationship reach the S rank, they will marry. And although the children are predetermined and not randomized, the different combination of classes depending on the parent coupling is an interesting and fun element. And that's it for our list. Thank you so much for watching, and go to GameRant.com for more like this.